Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have Michele Novack. She's a founder of CardinalsByte, a leading cybersecurity firm specializing in compliance for professionals and small businesses. And she helps listeners navigate the complex world of cybersecurity, ensuring that they stay protected and thrive. Welcome to the show, Michele.
Hello there. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited right now
You
to
are
really
welcome.
be aboard.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show, Michele. Welcome to India in this online form. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll talk about cybersecurity for small businesses, all this stuff we'll talk. But before that, let's talk a bit about your background, your journey, so that people know who they are listening to, Michele.
Absolutely. Well, Kaj, listen, I have been in business for over 30 years, right? I am a cybersecurity engineer. My current company, I own CardinalsByte, right, which is a cybersecurity compliance and risk company that helps small businesses. But my background really goes extenuating to finance, right? I started off in the finance industry, worked for large major corporations in banking. And then I moved in and transitioned to my own business several years ago. So the extent of who I am, I have a lot of things behind me, right? I have the education, but I also have a really love for my family, nature, being out there. That's who I am, right? And I've always loved
Absolutely.
helping people. I'm big in my community. So,
Absolutely, absolutely, Michelle. So let's come to the cybersecurity part. What should we understand about cybersecurity today? It's at some point in time, I've also started thinking that there is nothing called security in terms of the cyberspace, and that we only are secure only because we think we are secure, but technically we are not. How much secure we are if we are talking about the cyberspace, Michelle?
that's a really tough question, right, AJ? Because cybersecurity today is prevalent for everything. We see a lot of things happening out there. I will tell you how secure we are is only how in depth you understand the needs and how cybersecurity works, because nothing is 100%, right? There's always a chance there's that you will either get attacked or hacked. I mean, the government is constantly working on upgrading, right, and protecting our infrastructures. You hear cyber attacks all day long, right? I'm sure you hear the big news. This company got hacked, that company got hacked, your data's been breached. So it's out there. And it's only going to continue as we drive technology, right? And that's really what drives us. AI, right? The criminals today, the cyber criminals today, AJ, they know that AI is the way to go. They don't even have to work as hard as they used to get into your systems, to get the information that they need. So security, I would say, is always false. And I think anybody in the cybersecurity world always say, yes, you're secure, but security is never 100%. And I hope I answered your question.
Yes, indeed, you did. You did, Michelle. Because see, uh, the only way to be secure, perhaps, is in that sense, is to go to the jungle, off grid fully, have nothing to do. Because our biggest thing is this phone itself. One phone, you are having it all around you. Then the Wi-Fi connection is there. Everything is there. That it is like you have already let the thieves inside your house. Now, whether that thief has changed his or her mind after seeing your house because you do not have that much of wealth, that is different thing. So it all depends on what somebody wants. Be that as it may, Michelle, it's a different thing when you are talking about an individual. But if you are a business, then as is especially about a small business, But though big businesses are also not that secure, as you talked about data breach and everything and all those hacks. I think they use the same template. Sorry, your email has been breached, all these things, and we are working on it. Change your password. That's it. So that's the only template. That. But as a small business, what is it that I can do? What is it that I should do? And making sure that my business keeps running even there is a problem in the business in terms of security. It should be online also, it should be also in a way that I can access it when the world goes down. That's the nature of small business. What is your best advice on this?
You know, so as a security expert, I offer five major things that are really important for all businesses, but small businesses especially, because that's my field, right? A lot of small businesses, Kaj, do not have the resources. They don't have IT teams. They don't have people working for them. They don't know the technology, right? They're not sure what's required. So I try to make it simple for them. It's important to have in the world today multi-factor authentication, right? Have a security, at least a review of your systems, a review of your current security posture, right? Understanding where the gaps might be, knowing where they can get in, having training if you have employees, or even if you're 1 to 5, 1 to 10, because that's really who I work with. Know your employees, train them, because most security breaches come through emails and phishing, right? That's how they get into your system. That's how they get the malware. That's how they're able to hack and get all the data. So that's highly important, right? And then really having preparation, right? Preparing, being more proactive than reactive to an incident. The last thing you want to do is wake up in the morning and, open your computer at 3 a.m., especially as a small business person, and see a nice black screen saying, we're not, you've been hacked and you need to pay me $100 million, right? I know that it sounds scary, but ransomware is out there, and that's what they do to these small businesses. And unfortunately, sometimes they pay and they're not realizing that there's other ways around it. But in addition to that, following the rules and regulations, because today's world, 63% of small businesses are hacked within the first year. Within the first year, they're attacked, because the cyber criminals know that they don't have the infrastructure. They don't have the setup. They're not prepared. So that's why they go after them. They know it's easy money. They know that it's an easy target. But those are my tips, right? Prepare yourself. Have a risk assessment done. Set up multi-factor authentication on your stuff. Train your people. And then, do it ongoing. Get some type of ongoing monitoring, right, that can alert you. And there are a lot of things out there today that are not expensive. Even the government offers a lot of free services. And, I give that to my small businesses when I speak with somebody and they're like, listen, I just don't have, X, Y, and Z to do this. I'm like, this is where you're going to go. This is because it's not about making money. It's about getting the word out there and helping individuals one-on-one, because the stronger we become, the less they can attack. And that's the way I look at it.
Absolutely, Michelle. Uh, what about small businesses? Means very small business, solopreneurs. They are also businesses. Influencers, they are also businesses in their own right. Uh, People like podcasters also are looking at it from a very business point of view, because uh, they've got lots of data either in the email form, and because for me also guests are like so many guests are there, they are all industry leaders and all, so everything becomes a responsibility as well as a thing which needs to be taken care of. I may not do anything with it, it's lying very safe, but for me it is very important because it is about the safety. Many people share their phone numbers also, even if I don't ask for it or need it for anything, but that can be, and for me it is not required, but for others, all those hackers, all those people, they know about the way the world functions. Now I have, say, whatever it is, how do those people invest into or do this sort of thing that a small business done? Because this is also a small business. No, not maybe in the term of product, but in terms of the data part, they have a huge amount of data and they don't want that to be compromised. What can a lot of these people do here, Michelle?
So my best advice, if you have old computers and everything and you want to secure that data, take it, if you're not familiar with how to open up those computers, take it to a place, have them take out that hard drive, because once they take out that hard drive, it's done. You can either save the hard drive or they can actually clean it. It's called a clean slate. They can wipe it clean. There's a program they run, and it absolutely gets rid of everything on that hard drive. So that would be my best suggestion. That's what I've done with my own. I know how to wipe my own hard drives for the ones I can't get out. But that's the only way, right? Because throwing that computer out, putting it in the garbage, all your information's on there. And, I'll give you an example. You ever rent a car? You hook
Yes.
up your phone on a rental car. All of your data gets downloaded. If you don't clear that out at the end, it's still there for the next person to see. So, again, we're working in a world of technology, but that's the best advice, AJ. Take it to a place or somebody you know. And if not, hold on to it forever. Your phones, the same thing. Your old phones, don't just drop them in one of those places. Take it a place or hold on to them. I have cell phones. I don't even know. I don't want to date myself, but I have a lot of old cell phones. I just won't get rid of them. Right.
Absolutely. So, Michelle, a lot of people, when they think cybersecurity, small businesses, individuals also who are doing their business, they think, cybersecurity means you install something, put some software which will stop all the ransomwares and everything else. But what I heard was you talked about two-factor authentication and a few more things. But what is cybersecurity then? Means how do I counter those people? Is there a way to counter, or is it only preventive measures that one can take, Michelle?
So there are ways to counter, right? You have a lot of different software out there, right? You can certainly use virus protection, right? Malware protection, but it's not going to stop it, right? Because AJ, there's nothing foolproof, right? You can put in systems to monitor your systems, like I stated, but all of those anti-software, anti-malware, they work to an extent. But a good hacker, again, and again, 99% of the time they're getting in through your email, and that's the way they get in, or they're getting in through pictures, right? They'll send you a picture on your phone. You get those links, click here. That is the way they're getting in. So the only way to do that is to make sure you have a top-notch antivirus, right? That's constantly upgraded, checking for that data, checking for that infrastructure, and being smart. So one of the other things is, do you know this person, right? Does this sound familiar? Does it make sense, right? When you're reading something, is the spelling right, right? Does it look right, right? Don't just click on pictures. People love to click on pictures. That's one of the best ways they get in, right? It automatically sends a nice little virus once you click on that picture, and you don't even know. It's like a blink. Sometimes you see a blink on your screen. You probably just downloaded something. So, again, I think using those tools are great, but they'll never be 100%. Monitoring, educating yourself is most important. And that's it. Educating yourself, understanding what's out there, keeping up with the trends, and knowing what you can do. Because there are a lot of things you can do, but it's not going to do it 100%.
Absolutely. So, Michelle, is it also, do you also recommend that small businesses, and they can do, or even solopreneurs and all, they also should keep all the data in a, you can say, hard copy format or any other format? And people also, their customers, clients should know that these are the phone numbers that they can access to if they are not reachable. Anything can happen in the world. The world can, the internet may shut off, your data may go off, but you cannot go out of business. But like it happened last year, if I understand, all that data upgrade and all the systems were down for several hours, and that was say that was some software patch, or I am not a technical person, I do not know. But how should we do? Should we live in these times? We should live online, but we should also be prepared for offline life.
Yeah, so that's really great question. So one of the biggest things with cybersecurity is backup. Back up your data. You have to back up your data. And this should be done and monitored and backed up if you're, a small business, minimum probably once a week, right? Or if not daily. I tell everybody every hour, back up your data. Because if you have an incident, that is the only way you're getting back up and running again and servicing your clients. You need to make sure that you have that data backed up. And a hard drive, it should be kept off site or on site. You should have multiple backups. You don't want to just leave yourself out there. It could take hours, right? To get back up. It could take days if you don't have that, right? And it could put you out of business if you weren't prepared at all, right? Because now you have to rebuild everything. So you're absolutely right. That is like key backup. That's the first thing I tell everybody. Where's your backup? When I walk into one of my businesses, I'm like, where's your backup? Did you save it this week? Or did you do it this month? Where is it? Let me see it. And I check the data, right? So that's very important. Thank you for bringing it up. I think that's, an excellent question.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you. Now, many people, small businesses, they just have this impression, or it's a myth, or it's correct, I don't know. People get it into their mind that, listen, these things may be very costly. And then they don't even venture to find out, to get someone like you, your expertise and all. How should they look at the costs here? Should they assume it is going to be very costly for them? Or should they just go and must be aware that there are ways one can get things within their budget?
It's a great question. I think for small businesses, cost is always a factor, right? It's always going to be the first factor in doing anything, but you have to have a budget. In today's world, you have to have a budget for cybersecurity. You have to. It's very relevant. The cost can range anywhere, and depending on the type of service that you're looking at, I want to say $2,000 to $50,000, right? Depending on how many people you have, how many computers you have, and so on and so forth, and really what your infrastructure is as far as what your small business is. But there are services out there that can monitor your systems, help you get set up for cheaper, right? But you just got to know what you need, because you're going to go and sign up for something that says, oh, we could do vulnerability management. Okay, that's great. You're going to do vulnerability management. They're going to send you these nice little reports, but what do you do with them? You've been hacked. If you don't, you understand? So again, the average cost for a regular small business is $2,000 to $5,000. Like, a smaller entrepreneur, you should have a budget for at least the minimum of that, right? To come in, assess, and then, ongoing monitoring with vulnerability and stuff like that. It just depends. But I always tell everybody, think $2,000 to $50,000, right? Again, depending on your, and 50 would be the high end for larger small businesses. Businesses maybe 5 million plus, but for businesses that maybe only make $300,000-400,000, you may be looking at a $2,000 to $5,000 or $2,000 to $7,000 price tag, which is really not that bad. I think is relatively worth it. I do a lot of, I offer a lot of free risk assessments to small businesses, because that's really where the biggest cost is, to try to help them out, right? And I even offer PDFs and ebooks that I wrote to walk you through the process that are very in-depth. I have resources. I have videos that are free that you can watch that tell you how to do things. So those are the avenues you can take, right? But it's reaching out. You have to reach out and not be afraid of the cost. Put it aside and say, what do I need to do? If I get hacked today, will I be out of business, right? How do I protect my customer? How do I protect my data? Because that's where it comes, because you have risk of reputational loss. You have risk of not only that, violations, federal government, state, local, right? And, it just depends on what the hack was or what the threat was. It could put you out of business. So, you know, is it worth the investment? It's always worth the investment. That is the key. Your data is your asset, right? You got to
Absolutely.
look at it that way. Your data is your asset. Without that data, you don't have a business. And that's it.
Absolutely, absolutely, Michelle. You see, in our day-to-day life, we talk about prevention is better than cure. So, and you talk about creating a culture of security. So, what is this culture of security all about? Again, two-factor authentication, a few antivirus here and there. How do I create? How do you tell them? Let's create this culture.
Yeah, and that's a great question. A culture of cybersecurity is the way you think, right? When you think about it, we're building a culture. It's not only sharing with you as a small business person, but it's getting it out there, sharing with your friends, sharing with your family, sharing with your knowledge, sharing what you know, right? Don't keep it a secret. You interact with other small businesses. You interact with people every day in your business. Say, hey, I learned something new. Did you know that? You may want to go explore it. That is what I love to do, right? Most and foremost, I just want to share. I want to get it out there. I want to build a community because it's so important to do that. We all network day to day, right? And that network, by us sharing that knowledge one person at a time, we're going to build that community and we're going to help, right? The larger scale out there, right? We're going to help those folks. And, again, it applies not only to small business, but, personal too, right? But that's how you build it. When I walk in, it's about, what do you know? Let me teach you. Let's share this knowledge. And then go out there, and I want you to go out there, and I want you to share, share, share. you know, Build it first, know why it's important, know why you need to do it, and then go out there and share it.
Absolutely. And talking of sharing, so let's understand a bit about your company, Cardinals Byte. It's a good name. Tell us what it does. In that, some of the things one can understand, but maybe there are so many other things that you do. Others should know about it. And what is the way? What are the things that they can, become your client in that sense?
Sure, AJ. So, Cardinal Bytes, what we do here first and foremost is we do risk assessments, right? So, a risk assessment, and I'll break it down in very easy terms, is just us coming in asking a whole bunch of questions, right, about how things work in your company. And it's a process that will identify um, what things might be missing, right? Like we talked about multi-factor authentication. Do you have something set up like that? What is it, right? And walking you through that process. Um, do you have, VPN services, right? How are you connecting to the Wi-Fi? So it's a lot of simple questions. Some of them are a little bit more technical, right? And we get you through it. So it starts with that. And then once we do that, we come up with a great, nice report that tells us, hey, okay, these are all of the areas that we kind of need to focus on. And it's based on a level of risk, right? And it's graded, maybe it's a 5 to a 1, right? 5 being the most important and 1 being, okay, they have some type of structure there, but we need to continue to work. So that's the first step, right? Identifying the gaps. The second step is I also offer written policy and procedures. It's needed for compliance. Any audit, any government is going to say, where are your policy and procedures? What is your processes? How do you monitor those processes? How do you train your employees on that process? How do you audit yourself those processes? So that's what I offer, right? I do your written policy and procedures. They're all standard to the industry. They're constantly changing. The next step to that, after I do that, I also offer cybersecurity awareness training, right? So we want to make sure that we are taking care of that training, not only training yourself, but also if you have a couple of employees or you have several employees, training them at least minimum every 6 months, right? Or quarterly. I always say do it quarterly, right? There's a lot of, we offer that. So then I also offer incident our response plans, written incident response plans, along with um, security information plans, which are also required by the federal government to have in place, right? That outlines the structure of your security. It identifies all of your networks, all of your software, anything that you have access to, any vendors that you may have, what they have access to. It's the technical end of your computers and your systems, right? That's what it identifies. It walks us through all of your connections, anything you have access to from your computers and anything on those computers, whether it be cloud related or not. That's what those are about. The incident response plan is, what do you do if you get hacked? You need to have that. It's required. Um, and where I am in New York, that's the first thing they'll look at, right? You have 72 hours to comply, report, and have something in place. So the incident response plan will walk through, how do you get yourself back up, right? We talked about that backup. How fast can you get yourself back up? What's your plan, right? How do you get your website up and running again, right? If it's been hacked, right? How do you get your face of who you are up? So that's what we do. And then we go on to vulnerability management and everything else. But that's the core of what I do.
Wonderful. There is so much to learn about all these things from you, Michelle. And I'm sure a lot of businesses, small businesses, solopreneurs, and whoever needs all this information and help, they would want to connect with you. Know more about Cardinals Byte, get associated with it as a client. What's the best way for them to connect with you?
So the best way to connect is straight through our website, right? Or through any links that are shared. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. And I'm also on YouTube. So those are the best ways to reach out to me. But directly through our website, I always tell everybody. But if not, I'm on other podcasts as well. So wherever you find me, I'm out there. Just search me. You'll find me. Google is there today. So you could just search me on Google.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you. And have a great day, everyone. I appreciate it.